And 35 years ago, I was so impressed by a vision that I made that vision a part of mine. And the vision was a world that works for everyone with no one and nothing left out. And I realized at that time that in the world we leave out so many people, we do not include them because we don't like them, or we don't include them because they don't, say yes to everything we say. And I realized that most people are not very inclusive. They exclude a lot of people from their life because of their judgments. So today we will talk about inclusive leadership or an inclusive way of living life. How to make everyone feel included. And before we talk more about it, I'd like you to just take a deep breath, settle yourself, take a deep breath in, exhale fully, and make a determination that you will listen with intent and you will listen till the end of the session. So what is inclusion? Inclusion is the practice of making people feel seen, heard, and valued for who they are. It goes beyond this diversity numbers. Yeah. When corporates now say, oh, we want to create psychological safety. Yeah, good. But this goes beyond that. Inclusion means allowing differences. Letting people be different without judgment or a need to fix them. So, at its very core, it is a leadership choice, a daily way of living life. It becomes you are either inclusive or you're not. So, inclusion does not begin with policies, it begins with presence. So, say very silently to yourself, nothing is wrong with me, nothing is wrong with others. Today is not about becoming a perfect person or a perfect leader. It is about being a more conscious human being everywhere, and especially whenever you are with people, for sure. So what are the benefits of inclusion? Inclusion makes people feel safe with you, and this safety unlocks honest communication and innovation. People open up and speak to you clearly. When people feel included, they just don't follow the process, they commit to life. If you look at teams and groups of people, you'll find that where people are inclusive, there is more trust, lesser attrition, people collaborate and work very well with each other. This kind of inclusion allows different types of thinking to come out. Otherwise, you might have seen that people always want to say something which pleases everyone. Yeah. So when different diverse viewpoints come out, it leads to better and stronger teams and collaboration, right? So people who feel seen and valued bring their full intelligence, creativity, and their ownership to work and life. So there is a very big downside if you don't have inclusion. The lack of inclusion makes people very silently disengaged. People show up physically, but mentally they are not with you. So people are there because they are supposed to be there, but not really emotionally and otherwise mentally with you. People who feel excluded will stop sharing ideas, and this will sometimes lead to very costly mistake. And trust starts going away. People don't operate at peak performance. In a non-inclusive environment, you will have more conflict, you will have more attrition, burnout, and especially among the very high potential, intelligent people that you have. So inclusion is not about being nice. Inclusion is about unlocking human potential that otherwise will shut down. So let us reframe inclusion. I'm sure you have HR policies that talk about, inclusion, but we are going beyond that. Now, most people and leaders, they think that they are inclusive. They really believe that they are inclusive. If you talk to them, they'll say, I treat everybody the same. I don't discriminate. I am fair. But you know what, guys? Inclusion is not only about sameness. It is a kind of attunement with people. Normally, when someone says, I treat everybody the same, you know what they're actually saying? I expect everybody to be like me. So, true inclusion will always ask, how can I make space for you in my life? You might have noticed that in our country, hierarchy is strong, seniority is very important. Silence is taken as agreement. So many people feel physically present but emotionally absent. They might be in the meeting but not mentally in the room. So let's look inside, go inside and see how inclusion really begins. See, inclusion doesn't fail at any organization level or anything. It fails at the inner level. Inclusion fails because of our own ego. It fails because our judgments and biases that we have towards people. And a very genuine fear of people who are different from us. So let me ask you very, very gently. Who is the person in your team or otherwise that you avoid? Who is the person that you secretly label as difficult or slow, or you label that person as not a leadership material? That is not your character flaw, Baba. That is human conditioning. Inclusiveness will begin when I start noticing what I am resisting in others. What I resist in others often shows me something unresolved within me. Now, our ego, it loves familiarity. It feels very safe people who think like us, who speak like us, who agree with us. But leadership is not about comfort, no? It is about capacity. The capacity to include everyone. Now, the thing which we have explored many times is oneness. So at some level, we are all one. So if we are all one, then why do we exclude? So exclusion is a fear response. We exclude when we feel threatened. We exclude when we fear losing relevance, Oh, I don't know how to relate with this younger group of people or something like that. We feel excluded when we don't understand someone. So let me be very clear about one thing. Inclusion is not about agreement. Inclusion is about allowance. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to agree with everybody. But you can choose to say internally about that person, you belong here even if you are different from me. You belong here even if you are different from me. Now, this is the inside the mind working of inclusion, including your own insecurities, including your own discomfort, including your judgments without acting upon them. If you have a judgment and you notice that it's a judgment and you don't do anything about it, then it's fine. So when you include your own shadow self, then you stop projecting it on your team. So let's look at practical reality. Let us bring this to workplace and our home. Yeah. So how do inclusive leaders think? Let's find out. There are people who are inclusive, very, very inclusive, no? So inclusive leader will never ask who is right or who is wrong. They will ask who is not being heard, who is not being listened to. So the inclusive person will never dominate a conversation. They will design the space so everybody can speak up and feel heard. Everybody can feel listened to. So they will notice who speaks quickly, who speaks slowly, who does not speak at all. They are watching, and they will intervene gently, not forcefully. Now, instead of telling someone, why don't you speak more? Don't tell like that. Instead of that, you say, I really value your perspective. I really value your point of view. So I'd love to hear from you. Now, this sentence, telling someone that I really value your perspective or your point of view will change the other person's self-worth. Now, there are 5 habits that inclusive people have, inclusive managers have. Number 1, they always will pause before reacting. So when someone says something that you disagree with, and someone says something that you disagree with, pause, breathe, and respond. Don't react. Reaction is automatic. Response is a well thought out response. A response is something that contributes to everyone. So the second habit of inclusive people is they will publicly acknowledge and appreciate someone's contribution publicly. And normally only the loud people, they are the only ones who get recognized. But an inclusive leader will recognize and acknowledge the contributions publicly of quiet people also. Third habit, they will separate performance from personality. So they'll be looking at what is someone contributing rather than how smart that person is, or are they trying to make me happy or not. Okay? See, normally we tend to feel good about people who, agree with us and they make us feel good. And we forget how much work that person is actually doing. So an inclusive person will separate real performance from the glitter of the personality. Fourth habit is ask. Don't assume. If you have any doubt, if you are having some perspective of your own, you made up your mind, don't just jump to conclusion. Be curious and ask. If someone is doing something, you don't like it, you can ask them, no? What makes you do this? Keep your like and dislike on one side. Ask, don't assume. Number 5, make safety more important than speed. Now, making a person psychologically feel safe with you and in the environment is far better than, pushing people to work fast. So remember this. Now let's look at something very, very important, I think, to all of us. That's the inclusion in relationships. Now think of some brother or sister whom you emotionally excluded, or a parent whom you silently have been judging, or your life partner or any other partner whose differences irritate you. Can you think of that? So inclusion is a way of being. It's not a technique. Yeah, so when you practice inclusion at home, you automatically bring it to work. Notice even at home how differences irritate you with your people in your family also. So when you practice inclusion at home, you will automatically bring it to your workplace as well. So take a deep breath and ask yourself very, very silently, who in my world needs to feel more included by me? One more time. Who is the person in my world who needs to feel more included by me? It's not about fixing yourself. It's not about being guilty or anything. It's just about being aware. Okay, here is a person who needs to feel more included by me, needs to feel open with me, feels okay to be vulnerable to me. So remember, inclusiveness, inclusive leadership is not about being the perfect human being. It is about being a human being. When people feel included, they will go the extra mile for you. And that changes everything, my friends.